India is the world's fastest growing major economy.
We see India growing from about $3.5 trillion in 2023 to about $7 trillion by the end of the decade.
India is in some sense where China was 20 years ago.
Can India replace China as a global economic leader? Let's deep dive. China approximately is growing at 4% in terms of real terms, however potentially slowing to 3.5% per annum. That's China's economy's growth rate in real terms. India, on the other hand, is growing at a high run rate of 6.5% per year, with a target to even further increase it to 7 to 8% per year, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic. And this data point is hence making the pundits or the economists or the guru question, can India really replace China as the global economic leader, right? These percentages become important. And as the context of the case, in 2024, US and European Union together constituted 39% of global GDP, with China standing at 19% and India standing at 3.5%. Prospect of India replacing China as a global economic leader by 2060 is gaining traction, especially because of India's promising growth rate of 6.5% after COVID-19 pandemic versus for China, which has been approximately 4%. So while India is just contributing 3.5% compared to China's 19%, the run rate is putting that spotlight on India. GDP or the net economy of a nation is typically impacted by one of the four or all of the four parameters. Number one is the consumption, which has been the India story for the longest period of time. You buy from Zomato, you take an Uber, the consumption story, which is where China is also now pivoting towards, because they've kind of plateaued with respect to the net export story. Number two is investment, bringing more employers, bringing more organizations, trying to bring Microsoft office. The first office after Seattle was in Hyderabad. That's the investment story. The third story is government expenditure, which is constructing roads, having infrastructure activities, through which maybe there is labor involved, there is employment. Typically they say in terms of correlation, the net export contributes the least to an economy. I'm not saying zero, but out of the four, typically government expenditure contributes the least. And the fourth one is net exports. Net export is export minus import. So you understand the why, because nations want to have a supremacy. You understood the what. The what was the percentage contribution to overall GDP and the run rate. And now we are getting into the how through root cause analysis and through solutions. The root cause analysis we are doing through the economics equation of GDP equals to C plus I plus net exports plus government expenditure. Now let's start with the discussion on investment first. So largely we can have an infrastructure issue, and there could be multiple points by the way under that. We could also by the way talk about critical areas requiring reforms, especially the agricultural sector. It's an agrarian economy. So are there sufficient agricultural investments where small and marginal farmers also dominate, not just through representation but also as part of contribution to the overall GDP of the country. Taxation structure also could actually deter or incentivize the investor in your country or against your country as well. Imagine if other government would have come, not leading BJP, then what could have been the problem with investments? And when you are taxing more on long-term capital gains, what kind of signal are you giving to investors? That they should just pack their bag and leave. India is not a long-term story that they should invest in. They should just come, trade and leave. No, right? So investment done. Let's have net exports. Now historically, India has prioritized global leadership over regional influence, which is a phenomenon we are also seeing right now. Most of the neighbors of India, do we have an enemy relation with them or do we have an alliance relation with them? This is evident from the exclusion from the major treaty and trade agreements. There were two recent trade agreements where India excluded itself. Number one, RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. India has evidently excluded itself. And the number two is CPTPP, Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, which were extremely crucial for economic integration and influence in Asia. That is one challenge. Strategic missteps. When India supported China's UN Security Council membership, what did we ask in return? Absolutely nothing. Did we say that for the longest period of time there will be a trade treaty between India and China? No, right? And then global alliances. Moving forward, India must strengthen its regional ties as well. We'll come on to the solutions. Let's quickly move towards the next section. Government spending, the institutional challenge with government spending is what are you really getting out of it? And it's a slippery slope, by the way, when we have that argument, because you're paying the taxes to have that road, right? That's the challenge we are having with this country. First you pay tax, you pay GDP, you have direct tax, you're going to pay tax on the restaurant that you have, and then you're going to pay for the toll as well. Government cannot anticipate revenue in each and every spending that they make. Otherwise it kills the purpose of having taxes, and that's why economics is little tricky. If you subtract from here, it gets added here. But you have to always make sure wheresoever you add the resource, you add the capital, it has to be productive, net productive towards the nation. Let's cover the last one, consumption. One point that you can have should be unequal resource sharing. Is a rural villager also able to afford Zomato and Swiggy? No, right? That means their consumption power is not the same as an urban consumer's consumption power. That means that we see a challenge of unequal resource sharing or resource allocation, yes or no? India's story has largely been an urban story in the last 10 years. And that's why if you look at the GDP growth, whatever we are having, the 7%, just break that 7% into urban and rural. You'll see that rural is largely growing at 2 to 3%, and it's the urban which is driving that growth. That means that there is a wide gap, or there is an area in the rural market. Now that we have established these problems, right? In net exports, what is the solution? India should develop a regional strategy that prioritizes pragmatic approach, pragmatic transactional diplomacy over just symbolic global leadership, yes or no? We established that India is excluding itself from the regional trade partnerships. So the answer will become strategic here. Similarly, one of the solutions in investment should be India should have reforms to attract investments, improve productivity in sectors especially such as agriculture, through technology, by building more markets. Similarly, we have to reduce reliance on public sector for creating a business environment in investments. If we will look at government spending, we establish there is a problem with government inefficiencies. We have more transparent measures so that there is less issues in corruption. We decentralize governance so that the local and the state are not getting stifled. We enhance community participation. And similarly, in investments, we look at education, healthcare, so on and so forth, allied sectors. Simple. You just built a pathway for India to actually topple China's global economic supremacy by 2060.